So yeah, my name is Karim Tarraf. I'm one of the 4 co-founders and the CEO of Hawa Dawa. I grew up in Cairo, a city that shows all the typical traits of an emerging economy when it comes to air quality and health. And I grew up in a family of doctors that spend their lifetime researching the intricate balance between the air we breathe and our health. So I've always grown up with understanding that air pollution or air quality is more than a number or more than a concentration number, but actually has something to do with our life quality, healthcare expenditures, and even in Europe and many parts of the world with our mobility. And the problem is that to solve this challenge, you need to have data, and the data is not there. You have a big data scarcity. At present, the systems for monitoring and gathering information are inefficient and wasteful, very expensive, and they do not provide the data in a form and in a way that you can actually apply it. And it's really very relevant, and we heard it before actually, that cities need to learn how to leverage the data that they already collect and increase it with other forms of data layers, because the opportunity in the air quality business is there. You have increasing measurement networks, from IoT-enabled or AI-enabled measurement networks, as what you see here on the left is actually a Hawa Dawa sensor on top of an official measuring station. You have satellites, and Hawa Dawa has been chosen as one of the top 3 space tech startups on the European scale from the European Space Agency. And you also have sectors without borders. So the use case of using air quality data in the mainstream of decision-making has never been easier. Now, what Hawa Dawa does is we take all these different layers of data from the official measuring stations of cities to the Earth observation and atmospheric models, and increasing actually our own measurement networks to create an entire ubiquitous coverage on a global scale of air quality. And we can layer then the technology depending on the pain or the use case we have on the right side. To give you an example of what Hawa Dawa can do basically is that we have an entire coverage from every city to every harbor to every shipping lane to every factory down to the city to every street, every corner, every household. And you can really understand in every corner what happens, where and why it happens, even highlight traffic, includes weather data and traffic data. So using this type of technology, we are able to increase the depth and the width of coverage of air quality data and emission data. What you see here is one of the applications where we have machine learning is basically we train our nodes to behave like the most expensive ones by turning a hardware problem into a software problem, by training our nodes to behave exactly as the €1 million measuring station and achieve an almost identical accuracy. And after that, we are able to include other data sources, so we can tell you by using machine learning to predict in between sensor nodes, but also including weather and traffic data, I can tell you where the air pollution is coming from. So it's not just, by representing the data, but I can tell you, for example, in sensor 47 here, there is a source of air pollution in the southwest, because the highest values come when the wind comes from the southwest. And what you see here in the southwest, a major highway. So we give more causal links between what you measure and what you want. And here you can even add one layer higher. This is a project with the Health Ministry of Northern Ireland, where we can map the risks of individual risk groups, diabetes, asthmatic, COPD, and what they're inhaling on air pollution, and what they're exposed to on a daily basis, on a postal code level, on a street level, depending on what the customer wants. So we're bridging the gap between air pollution and mobility, air pollution and health, and even with forecasting. So ML, we all use machine learning for forecasting. We're able to change behavior. And this is a project we did with Demas, where we've proven that 40% of more than 1,500 drivers will change their behavior if they know in advance which is the optimal route. And the more you think about it, the more applicable you'll find it, from real estate investing to shipping to smart fitness, ecosystem traffic management, impact bond. It's a product that we did with Munich Reinsurance. So the application of technology is exactly our vision. We want to mainstream air pollution, air quality data in the mainstream of decision making, from how we plan our cities, manage our health, plan our traffic, and even address climate change. Because 50% of climate change is caused by air pollutants that are also climate pollutants. So we address climate action. We're also talking about good health and well-being. And I mean, the pandemic is the best evidence for that. And we're talking about interconnectivity, using innovation to solve, to let our cities not avoid driving bans and become more efficient. So for every euro you invest, you get the highest ecological output. And yeah, the team is quite diverse, and from epidemiology to and basically this is the last slide of my presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, right on time. Thanks very much, Karim. And I think it was super informative. I was trying to follow up what you're saying in every slide. So do we have any questions from our experts today? Waiting. Yeah, Bruce is here. Please just unmute yourself.
Sure. I'm wondering, with all the data that you're collecting, are there other uses that might be helpful for other companies? Like have people come up to approach you to say, I like your suite of tools, but can I also get, just the raw data for ourselves for our own kind of purposes?
Yeah, so we're working right now on a third-party developer API, because we're not going to be the ones that develop the Asthmatic API, the Asthmatic app, or the traffic software running in the traffic central in the city. So yes, this is actually, we scale through partnerships. So the client base is 50% multilateral institutions in cities and municipalities, and the other 50% are B2B companies that use our API, use our data to leverage their own solutions for end customers, like health and fitness applications, but also to governments by bringing a more holistic traffic management software, for example.
Hello, hi Karim. Thanks for your presentation. It was really inspiring, especially since you come out of Cairo. I was just there, well, I guess 7 months ago. Tell me, what are 3 things you need to be true before you can move into a new city? So that helps us to start to think through what percentage of cities or countries you're actually able to scale to.
We have a global coverage. So using satellites, using atmospheric models and the existing data points, I can give you information for every single point in the city. The additional hardware is for premium use cases where basically you need to manage things on a micro scale. And we have like, for example, Cologne, what I showed, the city was never involved. So I can roll out the sensors whenever I want. They are in advertising boards, they're in light poles, so we have in 25 cities, we covered it within 18 months. And the main resource limiting us is basically how fast can we roll out the sensors. But like I said, it's not about rolling out the hardware. The Northern Ireland project, the health project, we did not have a single Hawa Dawa air quality sensor, but you leverage the data that the city uses, use intelligent algorithm to cross it with health prescription data, medical prescription data. So again, this is the input varies from the left side. It's just a matter what the city needs on the right side of the product.
Do you have any other questions from Eugene or Marta? No. Oh, Marta?
There?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. Karim, just wanted to ask you, in my country, for example, and I'm in the moment in Macedonia, we have many, let's say, dilemmas. Where is this pollution coming from, especially during the winter? So there is a lot of polemics, and whether it is from the heating, because some of the citizens use, let's say, the traditional form of heating, wood and carbon and so on and so on, or is it the pollution that is caused by cars, etc. Can you differentiate which is the source of solutions, so the government can then create policies that will address, I don't know, encourage them not to use that kind of heating by some incentives or similar things?
Exactly, this is why we built the platform, because basically I can show you that February 2019, we had the highest air pollution in Germany. Individual cities didn't know that first, that it's across Germany, but we checked the data and it was a climatic condition, it wasn't traffic. So using our data, it's a very easy output. I wish I could have more time to show you the dashboard, but basically you see the air quality information, you see the weather information, you see the traffic, and you see the wind direction, wind speed. So you know exactly what you're monitoring and why you're monitoring it. And if you take it on a global scale using the satellite data, we even cross regions. Like we can show you how a lot of the air pollution actually caused in Europe is deposited in the Egyptian airspace, actually, because of atmospheric conditions. So to finally bring some clarity in this complex issue of, I don't want to monitor because I'm afraid if I monitor, I see a hotspot. Well, we tell you, don't worry about it. It's about just, because if you know the hotspot, you might be afraid you don't have any action against it. But with our software, you can apply the 3 maxims: avoid, shift, or improve, because you know what is the source of air pollution.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we're good. Oh, we have Jijin, do you want to ask a question?
Not a question, but just a follow-up comment.
Please.
I initially had a comment similar to Marta, and now I just follow up, and I want to highlight how important it is to identify the source in my home country, which is China, which is manufacturing most things for the world, which also includes pharmaceutical ingredient. and then we all know China is cracking down on air pollution, but also generated a huge humanitarian crisis which a lot of unpatented drugs that are produced with the active pharmaceutical ingredient are only produced in China, and some are only produced in India. But the factory were shut down because of generic policy changes to combat climate change. I think with your technology will be really helpful to lobby the government to keep some industry open for humanitarian resources, and also for the unidentified sources is not really from there. So not really a question, but just comments. Thank you for your presentation.
Thanks, Jen. And I think there's some really interesting comments, and we can try to make this kind of connections right after the session. I mean, for governments who are interested in such a solution. Karim, maybe there's one quick question I can see on the Q&A from one of the attendees, from Mark, I think, from the attendees, and saying there seemed to be a potential scale of air pollution mapping with smart electric grids, factories to optimize generation and production to limit pollution. So what mitigation measures of creation of air pollution is Hawa Dawa considering in scaling up for mainstream and accelerating the SDGs?
It's a very tough question because we have to go in the individual SDGs. But the main philosophy that we're using behind Hawa Dawa is basically, it's not just about the monitoring of air pollution. If you have two factories and having identical emissions, you want to reward the factory that has a higher efficiency than the other one, that has a higher production input, output, volume output. So it's not just a matter of actually penalizing what you're monitoring, but actually rewarding efficiency. So there's an additional layer to be added there. And most of the time, every government, every city has an idea of what they want to implement, but they lack the optimization potential because they say you have a driving ban. But we can tell you actually, well, it's not about that. It's about Thursday morning between 6 and 9 a.m. Instead of making a 50 kilometers per hour, make it 30, and you achieve the same output as if you have a continuous driving ban for these class of cars. So it's about this type of mitigation measures, and it's going to increase in importance, first of all, because the standardization needs to be done in that element and how to monetize how to monitor the SDGs, but also because air pollution and climate change are increasingly being linked. So whatever you do on the air pollution side needs to have sort of a connection to the climate action as a goal. So again, the measures that we implement is the idea of avoid, shift, or improving, and whatever you choose as avoid, shift, or improve policy, we help you optimize it from an ecological perspective.